We're simply just checking if the item ID 1, which basically stores your clicks, the amount of your clicks, we want to check if that is greater than 25 or 25. So is it 25 or greater? So now
Introducing ClickUp Super Agents, the world's first AI agents that natively collaborate with humans and always have correct context and perfect.
if we click, you guys can see that I'm not going to click that many times, maybe just a few times, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you guys can see that I reached this point and nothing happened. And now if we spam many times, you guys can see we are more than 25, so the wall gets disabled. This is perfect. If you have gone so far, you guys are doing great. So we don't want to do it like that because the player may be scared, because if he reaches this point, let's say the player is right here and they see the wall is not disabled, so it's way too late until the wall gets disabled. So we want to move this back. However, if we move it, back too much, what's going to happen is that the game is going to check way too early if you have clicked 25 times. So what do we do? Now if I, let's say, click not really that many times like that, and then I click in here a lot of times. Okay, that was bad. Let's say I do it like that. Okay, now as soon as I reach this, I'm not 25, and now I click a lot of times, nothing is going to happen. The wall is not going to go away because we have already made the check where you had less than 25. So it was false and nothing was done over here. So what we want to do is we want to do a constant check. We want to check the whole time if this wall, if your clicks are 25. So what we want to do is we want to add this count trigger. So this one, if you click on this one, it's going to show you that it's the condition is checked constantly. So this is another one's going to show you that add this count trigger. So this one, if you click on this one, it's going to show you that it's the condition is checked constantly. So this is another trigger that basically compares things. So in here, it is much simpler. Item ID 1 is that the target count 25. So as soon as 1 reaches 25, we're gonna trigger this one, right? This one is 8, so we want to trigger 8, right? This is very simple. And this one doesn't really matter where you put it because it's on the spawn trigger. And perfect. Now we have this count trigger, which basically checks as soon as item ID 1 reaches the value of 25, 8 is going to be displayed, is going to be triggered, which is perfect. Perfect. And you want to make sure to add activate group because this basically activates that group, which toggles this one off. Or what you could do if you want to go absolutely fancy, you can add 7 in here and disable that one. So this would basically do the effect of this one, of disabling this wall as soon as you reach 7, which as soon as you reach 25. But we want this to be a bit more simpler. We want to activate the group, the trigger that's going to disable this one, because later we might actually add some more effects into it. So we might want to have the wall kind of breaking out. And yeah, for that, you're going to need this trigger so that there you can add more triggers so that more things get triggered when you reach 25. And now there's the last problem. Now, if you spam a lot, you guys can see that if we reach in there and then we spam, the wall is gonna get disabled. However, if you spam a lot, you reach 25 before the trigger is there, nothing is gonna happen because from here on, the game starts checking if you have if one has reached 25, but it hasn't. So we want to add this all the way at the very beginning. So if anywhere between here or there, or pretty much anywhere, you reach 25, then the wall is going to be disabled. So if the player clicks here 25 times already, it's disabled already. So you don't have to click anymore. The wall is disabled. Or if you feel a bit lazy at the beginning and then decide to spam really fast, the wall is going to get disabled when you reach 25. So that is perfect. We have made a click counter, which is pretty cool. So nice. Now I actually want to move this a bit like that, and then yeah, actually I'm gonna return it because we're gonna do something in here because look at this. So what I want to do, I'm gonna delete these guys, and I'm actually gonna simply copy and paste this wall like that, so that the wall is larger. like that, and then maybe in here add some saw blades or something. Also gonna make the background a bit brighter like that, so we can actually see the black saw blades. And now the wall, yeah, it's gonna disable at 25. I've reached it. And now what you guys can also do, you guys can see that the timer stays on the screen even if you reach 25, but we kind of wanted to fade it away if we reach 25. So if you guys have followed and understood how this works, this should be pretty simple to do. Instead of, fading it out over there, we want to copy this, Control C, and then we want to paste it in here and check what this has of a group ID 8, and then you want to give it this one 8 and then make it spawn trigger. See, and then we want to paste it in here and check what this has of a group ID 8, and then you want to give it this one 8 and then make it spawn trigger. So what this does is it basically not only deactivates the wall, but also fades away the timer. So now, if you reach 25, you guys are gonna see that the timer is gonna start fading away, which is clean, perfectly done, awesome. But honestly, I don't want this to fade away. Maybe the player wants to, see how many clicks they can click. Just keep it on there for more fun, right? You can do that. But now another excuse to learn a new trigger is gonna be the fact that the timer is kind of on screen, and if you go up, you can't see it anymore. So we want it to always be on. on screen. Like I'm saying always. So even if you do this, you know, like that, the timer is visible on my screen, but if people have 4x3, it's not going to be visible on their screen. So we want it to always, on everybody's device, to always be visible on their screen. So for that, we're going to have to use the UI to our old. We're going to plan. Means is have the so you trigger a new group has a trigger and a. So what we're going to do is the first thing we want to say is we want to have a plan. So we're going to add a camera guide trigger. And we want to move this timer up left. So this is your camera. You can see this trigger adds lines over here. So what this means is that this is your screen, right? Let's say this is your screen, and you want to have the timer somewhere on the top right corner. So somewhere in here, the timer is going to be. So you want to, this timer has a group ID of 6, and now you want to give the camera guide trigger a new group ID of 9. And now you go to this UI trigger, click on edit object, and remember that this one is 9, that one is 6. So the target UI is going to be 9. This UI trigger, click on edit object, and remember that this one is 9, that one is 6. So the target UI is going to be 9. This is the camera. And then this one is going to be 6. So the group ID 6 is going to be target camera. And then this one is going to be UI. And remember that this one is 9, that one is 6. So the target UI is going to be 9. This is the camera. And then this one is going to be 6. So remember that this one is 9, that one is 6. So the target UI is going to be 9. This is the camera. And then this one is going to be 6. So the group ID 6 is going to be targeted towards the camera. And now these buttons are also very simple. So where do we want it? On the top right corner. And what this means is very simple. The counter is always going to be stuck to the top right corner of your screen, because sometimes people have some really like wide monitors, and this just makes sure that it's not, you know, in here, so that it's basically like on the edge. And now if we start, you guys can see that the timer is always on the screen, but we have moved the timer, if you guys remember. So this is moving the timer with the player. So if you add a zoom trigger, can I zoom out a lot? You guys might be able to see that the timer it's going to the right. So what's gonna happen is that this timer is just gonna go to the right, following the player. But we don't want to follow the player, so just remove the move trigger. And now oh, perfect, smooth.
Earn your loot, trade for profit, and expand your fleet. Choose new ships, refine your...
This timer is perfect. Looks very nice. Yeah, I kind of like this. This is pretty cool. So now the timer is always visible because the UI trigger, the way it works is not by when the player hits it, but rather this is always there. So if you guys go to the eye, you can see that group. This is permanent from the start and cannot be edited. So no matter where you place this trigger, it's always gonna have this stuff over here, right? So what we wanna do is we wanna hide the counter, because if we delete the start position, for example, and start, you can see the counter in the robot part, but we don't want that. We don't want the timer to be in. in the robot part. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this alpha, which basically makes it go away. The timer basically fades away. We want to copy it, go to the very beginning of the level, add the alpha over here. Instantly, as we have notification now, if you bring it back as soon as you hit here, and perfect. Now you guys can see that the timer is counting, and perfect. We have done everything we need. The wall is disabled and clean. Very awesome. So now we're gonna go back to normal stuff. So we're gonna go back to normal gameplay, no longer using triggers, although it was pretty fun, I believe. So now we're gonna do is when you exit, especially with a mini wave, if you want to go into a portal, it is very hard to actually hit the portal as the player. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add slopes like that. So like this, to make sure that no matter where the player is, he just gets towards the top like that. So I want to make sure that it's like that, like this, copy and paste, and add another one. But before we add it, we actually want to make sure that we add the D blocks, right? The D blocks are the blocks for to make
Avec Lucidchart,
put the start position over here, make this really fast, and now you guys can see that there's an issue where the wave kind of just slams through them. I don't know why this happens. It is very weird, but what you can do is this is another trick that we're gonna learn. So if you want to select only the slopes in here, you can do this by adding just like that, and you guys can see that sometimes this one gets selected instead, and sometimes that. So it's very weird. But the game usually selects the objects first that you placed first. So this one I placed first, the slopes I placed first, so it's going to select the slopes. And now if I click again, it's going to select the D blocks. So, but sometimes it gets weird and you just want to select the slopes and only the slopes. So there's actually a trick for this, and you got to go in here. Here and select filter. This one has to be enabled. And now if you select one of those slopes and then go to 3, which is this delete button over here, and click on custom, and now go to edit, enable swipe, and then select everything. And you guys can see that if I select anything, only these slopes are going to be selected. And now we can move them away, which is perfect. Go back to none. If you don't go back to none, this is going to be a big problem, because let's say you stay on there and then you deselect and then you forget it. Now, if you place an object, you're no longer going to be able to select it. Like the objects are not selected by default, which is very bad because you have enabled this one. So it's only selecting slopes. You guys remember? So you have to go back to none and now you can select again. So this is an issue. Don't run into it. So yeah, now we are selecting the slopes and we want to copy and paste them and kind of move them like that. And what we want to do is add a slope kind of like in between it. So like that, and then we want to move it down. So kind of add like another line of gameplay to the element. We're going to select all the slopes, go back, click none, and now the wave is going up because there's no longer these edges, these very weird edges. The player is just, yeah, perfect. Nice. Now we can copy and paste and flip it. Just make sure you flip it on the right side because otherwise you're going to see the weird slopes. So make sure the slopes are right. And now no matter where you go, you're gonna end up as a cube, and that's very cool. And in here, we're gonna add a shader, but not now. We're gonna add the shaders later. Now I believe the level is looking clean. We added a end screen type thing, and now we're just gonna end the level, right? We wanna end.
Imaginez pouvoir créer n'importe quoi, rien qu'en y pensant. Voici Base 40.
Est-ce qu'un jour je pourrais compter dessus?
Pour la sortie de
É DJ moleque bom, ele tem experiência, esculacha a concorrência. É DJ moleque bom, ele tem experiência, esculacha a concorrência. É DJ moleque bom, esculacha a concorrência, 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 esculacha a
Os amigos de craque com pede de treta, os amigos de craque com pede de treta. Tira do ponto, levanta a mão, joga a pistola pra cima, vai joga.
This isn't just any chat, it's ClickUp Chat. Sure, you can tag your team, ask questions, and even drop an emoji. But the real magic is how it connects to the rest of